The Miami Hurricanes go from barely sneaking into the playoff to one win from a national championship, but standing in the way, the mighty Indiana Hoosiers.
You're talking ball with the ACC Squad. From Florida State to North Carolina, from Syracuse to Miami, and from NC State to California, it's the local experts of the Locked On Podcast Network bringing you scoops, breakdowns, and the most comprehensive preview of the upcoming ACC weekend. Hang on, it could get loud, it could get heated, and it will definitely be fun. Squad up, you're part of the ACC Squad.
Hey there, what's up? Welcome into this week's ACC Squad Show. It's great to be with you on the Locked On Network, now the #1 sports podcast network out there, your team every day. Who are those teams? Well, joining us today on the show, Jarvis Davis from Locked On Georgia Tech, Jackson Holzer from Locked On Syracuse, Brian Smith from Locked On Seminoles. He will not be doing any live streams just to in solidarity with his Seminole team. JJ Jackson from Locked On Blue Devils, Grayson Boone from Locked On Wolfpack. I'm Isaac Shade from Locked On Tar Heels, and we're coming at you here. We're getting ready for the national championship game. So here's where we're headed on the show today. Is Miami's run validating to the ACC? Does it matter what's going on there? And then in the other segments, we'll take a look at the national championship game primer. When Miami has the ball, when Indiana has the ball, we'll make some predictions. And gloriously, Alex Dono's not here to defend his own cane, so we'll try to get it in for him. Also, we're recording this before Tuesday and Wednesday night's ACC basketball games. We don't know those results yet, but JJ Jackson's Blue Devils are rolling the conference right now. All right, boys, so let me just pose this big picture question to you. By the way, before we do that, this episode's brought to you by Game Time. Download the app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Speaking of JJ's Blue Devils, after they came in and won the ACC championship, we sat here on this very squad show and said, well, that does it. ACC is out of the playoff, and that's that. But then Miami slid right in, ripped out Marcus Freeman's heart. Now he's getting in fights at wrestling matches, and we move on from there. So the question is, has this Miami run validated the ACC in terms of like, hey, we should have been in and we're better than people realize, because the SEC sitting there looking out from the outside looking in? Who wants to buy the first round?
Well, as the football champion, I think it's best that I serve first here.
That was a lot of confidence.
Great year, you know. And,
we can't deny that he is the football champion. You have to give it to him.
You walk into the football facilities in Durham and you see the trophy there in all its glory. I think it absolutely has. Credit to Miami for what they've been able to do. A lot of people were debating whether or not they should get into the field. The head-to-head conversation we were having with their win over Notre Dame and how important that was. And shout out to those Hurricanes for stringing together wins to put themselves in this position, knocking off some SEC teams on their way to the title game. I'm such a big fan of what they've been able to do, and the opportunity to win a national championship. Only two conferences can still say that today. It's the ACC and the Big Ten. So, yeah, absolutely. I think the conference should feel validated that one of their teams still has a chance to win it all.
I'll go next, and I'll just say this. While Jackson's being a nice guy here, the only thing that I'm going to say is the ACC screwed up how the championship game should have been. I'm sure that he likes the Blue Devils as the ACC champ, but you got to change some rules on how that goes, because Miami was by far the best team. We all knew it, and they didn't even make the ACC title game. That aside, give Miami all the credit. I mean, they won at A&M. That's a really crazy place. They beat Ohio State, and then they were up against it, against Ole Miss, and 18 seconds to go, you punch a touchdown. That's pretty impressive. So hats off to the Kings.
Yeah, to echo Brian, I don't know if the ACC should thump their chest a ton. I mean, they should certainly be proud of what Miami has accomplished, but I think this is more of an indictment of the committee getting things right, putting Miami in over Notre Dame. I mean, look where they're at now. I think they are validated in every sense of the imagination. But yeah, the run that Miami has been on, it is something that the ACC should, try and take some pride in, because the SEC for years has dumped on us, and, the Big Ten's kind of, gotten in on the mix a little bit as well. But, to see Miami now on the biggest of stages coming up on Monday night, I think the ACC should take some pride in that.
the ACC should absolutely take pride in it. It doesn't mean that it's actually the reality of what this ACC football season was. And for the most part, aside from Miami, who is at least the team that we can crown as the team of the ACC, thank goodness we finally got that, the rest of the conference was terrible. It was a bad year of ACC football. So it honestly kind of reminds me of this past basketball season that we just had, where the Duke Blue Devils represented the ACC. They're in the Final Four. We can go thump our chest about how the ACC, again, is represented in the Final Four. That's cool and all. It didn't take away from the fact that the ACC basketball season last year was really, really bad, and they had to get a lot better, which they did.
Yeah.
So maybe because of Miami's run, or maybe this momentum now with the ACC, they can parlay that into having a much better football season next year in total as a conference. Right now, it's Miami basically putting the conference on its back saying, yeah, guys, you're not actually all that bad. It was a great year of ACC football because we're out here in the national title game while you're all going to watch.
But Jackson, look at the bowl records, baby. You know what I'm saying? That's like, come on now. They're right up there with the Big Ten and the SEC damn near at the bottom. Like, so, yeah, it's time to doggone pound your chest. You know, it's not just about Miami. It's about guys, what guys do in postseason football games. I know people don't think they matter, but they do. Because at the end of the day, it's all about what your coach can get your guys to do if you're not in the college football playoff. Because, you know, that stuff matters, man. It matters from a record standpoint. It matters from contracts and guys getting bonuses and all that stuff matters. If it's money on the line, it matters. We know that. So I think that the ACC should be proud of itself.
Yeah.
Except for Georgia Tech. They don't have nothing to be proud of. They couldn't be picked and got dog. Should have got it.
Does Syracuse say they're proud of themselves now? We
Better to make a bowl game and lose, or just not make a bowl game? And I'm, yes, looking squarely at Kenan Stadium up there behind my shoulder. Here's the question, though. And Jackson, I loved your comparison to basketball, where the ACC, yes, it's been down in basketball, but over the past 10 years, the ACC still sent more teams to the Final Four than every other conference. You look at with having Miami in this national championship game, do people remember, like, what people remember is who goes to national championships and Final Fours and wins those. So maybe that alone has something to validate it. And it's something to be said for that. But Jackson, something else you said that I want to pose to the crew here is, thank you, Miami, for kind of rescuing this bummer of a season for the ACC. The question now is, how do we build on that, and how do we improve going forward into the 2026 season? Anybody got any bright ideas there?
It's all about that moolah, baby.
Yeah, spend more money. That's what donors. Spend more money.
It's time to get those donations.
Don't worry.
Man.
I mean, actually, you should. Syracuse is not going to be included in that conversation. Everyone else, I mean, open up your checkbooks. Free will. Go ahead.
Yeah, man. It's all about. It's like, because that's what it's all about. Because essentially, Miami is probably going to, as long as Mario Cristobal is the head coach of that team, they're going to be going to Porter every year to get a doggone quarterback. I mean, that's just what it looks like, right? And they got the money to do it. So I think that, you know, there are going to be some teams looking around like, all right, you know, we got Miami about to get ready to see, with an opportunity to win the Natty, and they spending some money because, I mean, let's just keep it funky. Mario Cristobal is not the greatest coach in the world. Like, let's just put that out there now. You talking about lining him up with Kurt Signetti and Mario Cristobal. Hey, man. Hey, I love me some Miami football. I love the talent that they have on the team. I love the way they play, but I'm going with Kirk because discipline that they play with. I know we're going to talk about it, but it lets you know that as long as you got some money and you got somebody that's competent at your head as your head coach, you can do some things. You can do some things, especially in the postseason.
Yeah, we saw the Canes trip all over themselves trying to like dump that game with all the yellow laundry on the field. Good grief, in the semifinals. Yeah. Okay, well, so money aside, like, how do you get the right things? How do we, like, is it winning these preseason non-conference games? Like, what's it going to take, Grayson Boone, to bring that all together?
I think I might just go ahead and quote Jackson Holzer: win your games. The rest will be rectified if you win your games. You'll get better recruiting. You'll get more money. You'll get more respect on a national scale. Win your games. Sometimes, Jackson, you're right. It is that simple.
It's not an excuse because your starting quarterback got hurt in the beginning of the year, and
That's right.
and you just
Why are you looking at me? It's not my fault.
It's always your fault, Jack.
It's all
players out there.
Look, our
Yeah.
coach decided to
Back
go
in
rogue
groceries, now he can
and,
throw a
and
football.
play a lacrosse player at quarterback. That's not my idea.
You're going to be held
Okay.
accountable, though.
Leave Syracuse
right.
out of it. Okay, we're going
Yeah.
6-6 next year, and y'all gonna like it.
No.
Kenton's not even here to dump on you, and we're still struggling. All right, look, I would have loved to see some campus games in the quarterfinals of the college football playoff, but never thought that we'd have a team playing a home game in the national championship. That's exactly what's going to happen Monday night. We're going to preview the national championship game, starting with when Miami has the football, coming up here in just a second. Right after I tell you about game time, y'all, there's nothing like college football season. We got the national championship coming up, tailgates, a packed Hard Rock Stadium for once this year, and being right there in the middle of it all. The energy, the bands, the moments you remember forever. But getting tickets, well, that used to be the frustrating part with long lines, logins, prices jumping up on you at checkout. And that's why Game Time gives the advantage back to you, the fans. It's the easiest way to unlock amazing college football tickets in just a few taps. For the national championship game, there are tickets available for the low price of $3,112 as we record this right now. But keep your eyes on those tickets. It might go down as we get closer to kickoff. The app is incredibly easy to use. You can go from browsing to buying in just a few minutes. I love their zone deals that they have. You pick the section, Game Time picks the actual seats, and it's a great way to save even more money. So take the guesswork out of buying college football tickets with Game Time. Download the app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. We want to thank you all for making Locked On ACC Squad Show your first listen or watch of the day. Thanks for making Locked On Network the #1 sports podcast network out there. Want to let you know about our brand new Everydayers Club, a way to get involved more deeply with each one of our shows or any other ACC shows that you love. Maybe your host isn't on here today. That's okay. There's 2 great tiers, including the all access tier. Check it out. That link is in the show notes. All right, boys. National championship coming up Monday night, January 19th, 7:30 Eastern on ESPN. FanDuel right now has an IU -8.5. Good grief. Here's how we're going to break this preview. Yeah, right. I couldn't believe that line. My goodness. We want to start. Jarvis, you just mentioned Miami's going to go out and get the best quarterback money can buy just about every year. Well, just over a year ago, that's exactly what they did when Carson Beck committed to the Canes on January 10th. I think we all kind of laughed at it. Like, is he healthy? Is this going to work? Is it just because he's chasing his girlfriend? What's going on? Turns out it worked out pretty well. He had a wide open left side of the formation to run in that semifinal winning touchdown. Crazy stuff how the Red Sea opened there. Boys, when Miami has the football, how is this thing going to play out? Brian Smith, I'd love to hear from you first, my man.
I'm very concerned about just one thing when they have the ball, because they've got really good offensive talent, and that offensive line is a lot of fun to watch. If you're a purist, I don't care what team you do or do not root for, if you do not enjoy watching Miami's offensive line, you are not a football fan. They're going to be very difficult to stop on 1st and 10. Running what they just call inside duo. They run it about 90% of their running plays. Everybody knows it's coming, and they still do it because they're just so good. I think they need to be in the 4.5 to 5 yards per carry category, and nobody does that against Indiana, though. It's the rock and the hard place. If they are not able to average at least 3.5 yards per tote on 1st down, it's going to be a long night for Miami. Carson Beck works best off play action, and he also works best when you don't know what's going to happen, because every now and then he'll like throw a deep ball on first play of drive, and just that Malachi Toney guy. I don't know if any of you guys have heard about it. He's solid. He's solid. They've got explosive players. Keelan Marion on the outside. You got JoJo Trader, etc. They have plenty of weapons, but it's that run game. If they get that going, Carson Beck doesn't have to be a hero. He had a couple plays on that drive you just mentioned there, Isaac, where it could have been a pick. First play of that drive on the final drive was way short, should have been picked. And then Terrion Perkins had one go right through his hands.
Gosh, dude.
And if that happens, it's Ole Miss in the national title.
Yeah.
So take the pressure off Carson, run the ball, be who you are.
I think a lot of the pressure is going to be on Shannon Dawson as offensive coordinator, because here's the thing. it's obvious that he tries to save Carson Beck from himself. Like with the play calling, the screens, the quick screens, getting the ball out of his hands, and seemingly only way they can get it to Toney is to Malachi Toney just throw it out there and let him go to work, and get those big boys out there running in front of him. He just weave on through those bad boys and take it to the house. So I think that, but when you come up against a team like Indiana, these guys are so disciplined. Like I mentioned earlier, you're going to have to figure out a way to take a shot. You're going to have to, because at some point they're going to force you to try to make a play. They're going to put A in the box. You know what I'm saying? They're going to do that. They're going to come down and they're going to dare you to throw the football. And at some point you got to say, hey, man, my man outside is better than yours, and we're going to have to take this shot. And you're going to have to complete it, because that's the only way you're going to loosen things up for you. Especially, you have to do that early on, especially when you're talking about going throughout the game, because Dawson this is going to be very interesting, because Dawson, he has a task on his hands, because I think he knows that, they have to run the football. Absolutely. That's the foundation of their offense. But Beck is going to have to make a play with his arm. I know he made one with his legs, and hey, that was a hell of a doggone play. But he's going to have to make one with his arm this go round.
True. Brian Smith mentions that the ground game's got to be there as well. And y'all, Mark Fletcher has his 2 most explosive ground games of the season so far in the playoffs. Grayson, can he do that again to get that balance that Brian was talking about?
He's certainly going to have his work cut out for him, because Indiana is a team that does not beat themselves. They almost look robotic in a sense where, like, some place it looks like they know what's coming. And to Brian's point, maybe they will know what's coming. We'll have to see if they can actually stop it. But Mark Fletcher has been dynamite up to this point for Miami. And, you mentioned Carson Beck having to, do some plays with his arm. You might need a little something from his legs as well, if you can get it wherever you can. I think Miami's going to have to execute at an extremely high level. I'm talking like a near virtual, like flawless game. And one of our biggest, constant complaints, and I've been one of the loudest people about this, can Carson Beck just do enough, not make mistakes, just get Miami to the finish line? I think that, again, not a surprise here, that will be the biggest story for the Hurricanes.
It's another opportunity. Yeah. Go ahead, Jackson.
I was going to say, I think Miami's best offense might be their defense. Like, they're going to need their defense to create short fields for them, so that they're starting at the 40 or near midfield instead of having to start at their own 10 or 15-yard line, because it's hard to go all the way down the field against this Indiana defense. And also, it would also help if they got themselves, like a scoop and store, or like a punt return touchdown.
Wait, you're telling me a scoop and score is a helpful thing? That's crazy.
Yeah, like one of those things, like lessen the burden on your offense, because I'm looking at this Indiana defense and I'm like, have they had a bad game all season? Maybe they're due. Maybe they're finally due for a bad game, but their worst game of the year looks like it's against Penn State, which was all the way back in early November.
At Penn State, if I remember correctly.
Well, not Indiana. Miami's at home. So they might have the advantage there, and as far as the crowd, but Indiana's defense is so good. Indiana's defense is so good. They're having Jets fans wondering if Dante Moore should go second overall, and they have Ty Simpson wondering if he should maybe return to school instead of being a first-round pick. That is how good Indiana's defense is playing. They held Ohio State down to 10 points. You're going to need to find offense beyond just your offense.
Yeah. JJ, you were going to go earlier. What you got, brother?
Yeah, I just think it's all about getting the ball to your playmakers, like we've been talking about. Mark Fletcher has been really fun to watch, toting the rock out of the backfield. Hopefully you're able to get big things out of him. And I really like how they use Malachi Toney as an extension of the run game, making things a little bit easier for Carson Beck with those quick passes. And like we're highlighting what the Hoosier defense did, helpful tip for Carson Beck: don't throw a pick six on the very first play of the game, like Oregon had against them. I think that will help them out. So just give yourself a little bit of momentum and not have to climb upstream the entire night in a game like this.
And that's the thing about Carson Beck, though. You just feel like it's bound to happen. I feel like I can feel it. Like, I feel like it's bound to happen. And Indiana, and if it happens in this game against Indiana, how they play football, I would not be surprised at all.
It's almost like, can you trick Carson Beck into having like, hey, it's game time, Carson, let's get out the bad throws, get it out the way, and then start the real game after that. All right, fellas, we got to flip this thing to the other side. Fernando Mendoza is going to come out there with his big grin. He looks like my kid brother, while Coach Cignetti's out there on the sideline, like your favorite banker, middle management, whatever. But this Indiana team, man, is not to be trifled with. How can Miami handle it when they're on defense? We'll look at that and make predictions for the national championship coming up to wrap the show in just a second. All right, fellas, this, as was said, the Miami's best offense might be their defense. I think Holzer said that. And obviously, we always talk about Ruben Bain, but the dude that leads the ACC in sacks is Akheem Mesidor. This dude is wild. Obviously, he's benefiting from all of the havoc Ruben Bain causes on the other side, but let's remember, he got banged up a little bit late in that semifinal game, and that is definitely something to keep an eye on with the injury report stuff as this week goes on. Jarvis, can this defensive line of Miami just be reckless and cause havoc for the Hoosiers?
They're going to have to be, right? Because, you think about the game plan that Oregon had, talk all that junk about what Dante Moore did. Now, he had a horrible game, true enough. But Ruben Bain, I mean, he was working, but he did not get home, So when you think about that, carbon copying that plan, and Fernando Mendoza saying, "Hey, coach, here's how we keep these guys off my back, off of me. Yeah, let's get this ball out really quickly." And they have the weapons to do it. You saw how Elijah Surratt was able to, take advantage of one-on-one coverage, man. It was easy, man. He's like, just put the ball in the vicinity, he's going to win. So I think that this probably one of the matchups that I feel like Miami is going to have one of their best games. And like Grayson mentioned earlier, you talking about the offensive side of football, we're going to have to play a perfect game. Shoot, this doggone defense going to have to play damn near perfect, because Fernando Mendoza is just on time, gets rid of the football. They're just so in sync on the offensive side of the football.
Does he ever get rattled?
No, it's wild.
I never see the guy rattled.
Yeah. He's just cool, man. He's cool as a fan. That's why I say, I don't know. You probably gonna have to heat this man up a little bit, but then you can put your secondary and one-on-one situations. And I just talked about how Surratt take advantage of that. This is going to be a chess match, so I'll be very interested to see how Miami plays it early on.
If Damari Brown does not play, and he's one of the corners that didn't play, Jabari Antoine was a highly rated kid they brought in. Mm-hmm. He got annihilated at the end of that game against Ole Miss. He's the one that gave up the last touchdown there in cover 3, and he took a guy man. That's no bueno.
Was that after the targeting?
It was the last drive that Ole Miss scored. The touchdown Ole Miss scored to take the lead. He's the corner that decided, I'm just going to take this guy. They were in zone.
That's right.
That's never a good idea.
Yeah, that's not going to end well. How do you think Fernando's going
Jarvis analysis, #analysis.
This is the kind of game where, you got to remember, Cignetti and his staff, they operate like an NFL staff. Shanahan, like an NFL guy. If Antoine's out there, they ain't throwing to the other side.
No.
They're going to go after the young guy over and over again. It might as well be Jackson Holzer out there. It's not going to matter.
Pew, pew, pew.
Yeah, because look, young corner, you can't help a guy. It's an island. That's why corners get paid so much money in a league. He's just not ready yet. Even Mario, who never gives injury information, said Damari's day-to-day. Not a good sign. So they're probably going to have to rotate. And Indiana's pass game's obviously nasty anyway. They got Surratt, all those guys, Charlie Becker, all those guys. This is going to be interesting to see what that Heatherman does. He's a really good coordinator, but they're going to have to hide some stuff when they rotate in. And if Damari doesn't play at all, good luck.
How many times do you guys think that Fernando Mendoza in 2 games in this college football playoff has thrown the ball? Like, how many pass attempts?
Just
He's
over 30.
There. Yeah, he's up there.
It's like
Total?
38.
Total or average?
Total.
It's not even 40 attempps.
Yeah, I'm going to say like
Correct.
32.
It's 36.
He's got 5 incompletions and 8 touchdowns.
That's crazy. He got more touchdowns.
And he's throwing like 5 touchdowns. He threw 3 touchdowns on 16 pass attempts against Alabama. And then against Oregon, he threw, what was it? Five touchdowns.
Yeah.
So he's got 8
attempts?
TDs and 5 incompletions.
I mean, it's
I'm dead serious.
This is like if Joe Burrow wasn't throwing the ball 40 times, he was throwing the ball 20 times in 2019 LSU. This is exactly what it is. I mean, is it stupid where it's like the only way I can maybe see this, maybe having Miami having a chance is if you say, all right, Fernando Mendoza, your high this season, your high watermark for pass attempts is 31. We're going to make you throw it 40 times. And we're just going to see what happens. Now, he might go 35 of 40 and put up 500 yards and 5 touchdowns, and that's the game.
But you're saying just load the box and force it?
Yeah.
I think
that might be your only shot.
And I'm with you.
I agree.
Because it's like Indiana's like strength is running the football. That's what nobody talks about Indiana. They have this Heisman quarterback. They have all these weapons, but their biggest strength is running the ball. That's what they want to do. So if you stop the run and you say, all right, Fernando Mendoza won the Heisman Trophy, but our only chance in this game might be if he throws the ball 40 times, that might be the game plan. Because if you want to sit back and let them run, they've run on anyone.
Jackson, I think you're spot on here. And actually, I read this earlier. Did you know that Fernando Mendoza has only thrown for 300 yards one time this entire season? 15 games. He's only cleared 300 yards one time. And I know in large part that's because they bludgeon everyone, so he doesn't have to throw it. But the run game, to your point, that's the key. If Miami can load the box and stifle their run and force Mendoza to throw 40, 45 times, I think that's Miami's best shot.
Yeah. Looking at his game log, he's thrown over 30 or thrown for 30 or more just 3 times, and it's 30, 30, and 31 this season. So 31 is his most pass attempts on the season. That's wild stuff. Now, of course, he's being wildly efficient with those pass attempts, but still.
I'd love to see, the crowd is what's fascinating to me. And again, I'm no expert. I don't have the South Florida roots that some guys have here on the show, but I'm thinking, how can you get Indiana to play behind the sticks, right? Like, can you get any form of a false start here? How cool this is that we saw the Bucks with Tom Brady winning home Super Bowls, and then the next year the Rams won a home Super Bowl. What a cool opportunity this is for Miami to do that. But, man, they got to step it up and make it a little bit difficult when Indiana has the ball on offense. Just throwing things out there, guys. But it sounds like a lot of you think this might even be a pro Hoosiers crowd in Miami's home stadium, which is just –
it could be.
My brain can't compute. I can't compute that. That's insane.
Yeah, and here's what I feel like Miami has going for them, because it feels like this might be a pretty bad matchup for Miami. I feel like that defensive line, this is probably going to be Indiana's. This is probably going to be the best defensive line that Indiana has seen all season. Like, because when you think about the talent, the NFL level talent these guys have on the edges, the injury in the middle, they had a guy that came in for him at 260. I was like, I don't see how that's going to work. I've never seen a 260-pound defensive tackle. Like, I don't understand that. That'll make sense to me. I can't compute that. So hopefully he's not the guy that goes in, from an injury standpoint, like Brian mentioned earlier. But yeah, I think if those guys are able to put themselves in pass situations, right, by being stout against the run, like if you have to load the box up, do it, because if Indiana's able to run the football, you can cancel Christmas.
It's over.
You can cancel Christmas, because you're talking about shorten the game. You're limiting possessions for Carson Beck, and meaning he's going to have to throw the football, and you know what that means.
He's going to make yes.
If you're forcing Carson Beck to throw because, hey, we're only going to get 2 possessions in this quarter, that can change things around from a play calling standpoint from Shannon Dawson. That puts a lot of pressure on him. So yeah, I feel like if they can get Indiana behind the sticks and get Ruben Bain, the Mesidors of the world, get those guys going, from a pass rush standpoint, and put some pressure on Mendoza, because to be honest with you, I think that's what NFL scouts want to see, because Indiana just been running through everybody, and like he doesn't really have to pass the ball. So when are we going to see Mendoza under stress, under duress, having to move out the pocket? Because I don't even think I even saw him get out the pocket. Like, I can't even remember in this last game. Which is like, when did he just had to roll out and just get rid of the football? That man just sitting up in the pocket, man, just throwing his ball all around the field.
He just throws BBs. It's
right,
just like,
exactly.
It's just like,
man,
you can't stop it. But here's the thing, though. I think the formula for Miami is you have to, and this is just spitballing hypotheticals here, but if you get Fernando Mendoza to throw it 40 times and you hold him to around a 60% completion percentage, that's it. Like, that's the magic, or that's the formula. Because if you look at Fernando Mendoza's game log and you look at some of Indiana's closest games this season, it's the games where Fernando Mendoza was at his least efficient. But the thing is that it doesn't matter because he's not throwing the ball all that much. But if you make him throw it 40 times and he's only able to complete, 20 to 25 of those, and you can stop the run, well, your defense may hold Indiana down, which we've seen teams hold Indiana down. It's not a Herculean task. They're obviously red hot right now, but over the course of the season, it's not like they were always putting up 40 to 50 points. So that's the formula to me. If you stop the run, you force Mendoza to throw it, you can somehow win your matchups on the outside, hold him down to about 60%. A little pressure would help. You might be able to hold down Indiana to 17 to 20 points, which would give your offense a shot. It would give him a chance against this defense.
And like you said, the scoring would help. Keontae Scott had a 60, 70-yard pick six, whatever it was, for Miami against Ohio State. If they could get a big play from Keontae Scott or one of those corners like we were talking about, that could be big.
All right, so go ahead, Brian. Sorry.
Yeah, I think JJ's right. They got to have some kind of negative play where they either score or at least give their offense a short field. That's pivotal.
Yeah, key special team or big turning point plays always critical in these types of games. Who could be that dude that none of us expected to say his name that steps up and makes one of those types of plays? I'll be watching for that. All right, Jackson, you just talked about what could potentially be the blueprint for Miami. The problem is it's much harder to do that than it is to talk about it. So fellas, let's make some predictions. Is there a world when Miami could not even just cover this 8.5-point spread, but win this game outright? National championship predictions. Oh, let's start with Grayson Boone.
Is there a world where Miami can win? Yeah, but it's going to take a lot. It's probably going to take a turnover or two, maybe, to your point, maybe a pick six, maybe a scoop and score. It's going to take something crazy, something unorthodox, like a punt return, something that, the national championship magic is what it's going to take. All that being said, I think Indiana's going to win. I think I have the Hoosiers 27-20. I think it'll be a good game for the majority of the game. There won't be a blowout, even despite it, the fact that it's in Miami. But I'm expecting a tight game, but Indiana, they're Indiana, which is crazy. Like, that's a real thing now. You say, oh, yeah, Indiana is Indiana. This new thing that happened in just a 2-year span. Kurt Cignetti is a robot. He might also be Clark Kent, but what he has done is unbelievable. And I think Indiana is going to win the national championship.
JJ.
Yeah, I hate to go against the Canes here. Obviously been promoting the ACC so much and really want the conference to claim the national title. That would just be pure cinema that I would absolutely live for. But this Indiana team has just been so good all season long. As a football fan, I'd love to see an epic title game come down to the end. We haven't said a single word at all about these kickers on either team, and you never know how college kickers could step up to a moment like this. So I think this one's close, but I think Indiana ultimately has a chance to win it. I just wanted to give the kickers some love, guys.
Yes.
Because they got to be ready to go.
As well you should. Brian.
If Damari Brown plays, I'll take Indiana 31-20. If he does not play, you don't want to know my score prediction. Because they will absolutely, unequivocally destroy whatever corner they put out there, Jackson Holes or whoever it may be. So I think Indiana's far better, and I just think they got the best coaching staff in college football.
I'm glad to be playing for the Miami Hurricanes. That's a nice NIL check from me. I'll gladly take it. Some rev share money as well. That'll go towards my rent. There we go. Awesome. I got rent paid for like a year now. Thank you, Mario Cristobal, for putting me on the roster. And I'm going to lose, but it's okay. Miami does kind of have that team of destiny feel to them. And the thing is with teams of destiny is when they get to the championship game, it's kind of like that final boss. And again, everyone's going to count them out. and then they have to like actually prove people wrong one more time and have us all say, wow, they actually did it. They actually won. And I really, really, really badly want to pick Miami to win this game, but I just can't. I can't do it. So I'm going to go Indiana 27-13.
Oh man. Golly, man. Oh, I want to pick Miami so badly because I
We
love
all
the
do.
way
We all do.
I love the way this defense plays. These guys play the old school
Brian
style knock ball.
No.
Brian's like, I cover Locked On Seminoles. You think
Are
I'm
you kidding me?
like,
Hell no.
but here-
my Gator friends back at home, they cannot deal with Miami winning the national championship. They can't deal with it.
So tell those friends they don't have to worry about Miami winning the national championship. And here's why I say that. When you have two uber talented teams, a lot of times it's going to boil down to coaching. The way Indiana's special teams look to me, I'm not used to seeing that in college. The way just the discipline that they play with, being where they're supposed to be, like it's a well-oiled machine that Signetti got going on down there. So I feel like they're evenly matched from a talent standpoint. And ultimately, when you got these big games like that, it comes down to the coach. So I'm taking Signetti over Cristobal. So I think this game ends up being 21-17.
Jackson, you said Miami feels like a team of destiny. I think the Hoosiers feel like a even teamier of destinier, unfortunately, for our ACC squad show here. And I got to be honest, boys, kind of like Brian was saying, I do not think this is a close game. I think Indiana's just going to steamroll again, like legit, like 31-10. I'm thinking that kind of thing.
Wow.
Like
It could be worse.
Like legitimate. I just.
That's some Carson Beck turnover stuff right there.
Right. Well, hello, Jarvis. Guess what's about to happen, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
and
That's
I
what
hate
this sounds
that
like to
because
me.
I mean, Indiana beat Oregon 56-22 and Alabama 38-3. I mean, like they could easily dominate Miami in this game, and I would not be surprised.
and those were choose your score kind of games, right? Like it they could have done whatever they wanted to there. It was like Oregon. I mean, good grief. We don't have to get into it, but I just feel like Indiana's going to dominate yet again. And but we'll unpack it all next week when we're back here on the ACC Squad Show, either cheering on Dono or commiserating poor Dono and looking ahead to next year. We'll see what's going to happen there, but going to be an electric national championship game on Monday night. Can't wait to see it. I'm so glad to be together on the Squad Show. Thanks to all of you for tuning in with us today. For Jarvis Davis from Locked On Georgia Tech, Jackson Holzer, Locked On Syracuse, Brian Smith, Locked On Seminoles, JJ Jackson, Locked On Blue Devils, Grayson Boone from Locked On Wolfpack. I'm Isaac Shade from Locked On Tar Heels. Thanks so much for being with us. We'll talk to you next week here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. But for now, peace.